With Super Smash Bros. Ultimate right around the corner, Simon and I, two video game movie-loving fans, decided to ask the question, how would Super Smash Bros. Look like as a Hollywood film? Simon has spent the past week working off a storyboard for what the first film in the Smash Bros. Cinematic universe may possibly be. So please, Simon, take it away.
I'm glad you brought up cinematic universe, because that's exactly how I describe this. I think Marvel is one of the best at just doing what they do for these recent movies they've been putting out the last couple years, because they set up a universe. You know how they have like that phase 1, phase 2 for like each Avengers movie?
Yep.
That's exactly the approach I took with this. And I gotta give credit where credit's due. There's been plenty of people who've done this idea before. I'm not gonna name all of them because that's gonna take forever, but there've been people who've done the same concept before. However, I feel like I don't want to follow exactly what they've done. People have done before is they do a cinematic universe of all these Smash movies. And then when the Smash movie comes out, or like their quote-unquote Smash movie comes out, they make sure all the characters from that Smash game are there. So for phase 1, Smash 64 would have all the original 12. And then the second one, it would have all Melee characters, yada, yada, yada. For me, I want to make sure the plot is as engaging and as dope as possible, so I don't care really who is in which Smash game. That being said, for my first Smash movie, I made it something completely different from what you see in normal Smash games. There's no Master Hand, there's no taboos, there's no any of that content. It's all villains and heroes from the actual games. And talking about that first movie, the cast I have for that first movie would actually be a mix of Mario, adult Mario, not like baby or anything like that, just regular good old Mario.
Thanks for the clarification.
Actually, I said that in a minute. Bowser Jr. The Piranha Plant would actually be in the first video game if this happened. Yoshi. Okay. Yoshi, Kirby, King Dedede, Fox, Falco, Mewtwo, Pikachu, Ness, Samus, Ganondorf, Sheik, Impa as an echo to Sheik, Zelda, Andross from the original Star Fox game, Bowser, and that's it. So, the way I had this set up is, just like Marvel, you would have these movies focusing on one character or one series, and then you build up to the final climax, which is the Smash movie. The way I started was, I thought to myself, what would be the earliest installment that kind of connects these franchises together, or tries to at least? And I thought maybe Donkey Kong, but not really that. Game & Watch doesn't make any sense. So I started with Yoshi's Island. The very first movie in the series would be Yoshi's Island. And it would start off just how the game goes. You would have Yoshi, who travels baby Mario around and tries to get him back to his parents. And then you have Bowser Jr. trying to stop him. And I would have Piranha Plant, I guess, be more of a pivotal role. That way it makes sense why it's in the movie.
Oh, wow.
Piranha Plant when you're like, it's in the movie. I mean, in the game, it really wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, I hate the fact that he just has to be even considered because he's
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
games. But
I legit have to make him something more now because of that.
yeah, but continue. This is good so far.
So, you play Yoshi's Island, right? You know how it goes?
Of course.
Yeah. So it's a pretty simple plot. At the end of the day, Yoshi wins. Bowser Jr. kind of just disappears. And that's the end of it. They save. So you move on to the next movie, which would be Kirby's Dream Land. And the only two characters you'll see in that is King Dedede and Kirby. And in this one, I don't know if you ever played the original Kirby. I'm talking like gray, black, and white Kirby. You ever played that one before?
No, but I know exactly what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, pretty simple plot in that one too. The movie would just consist of King Dedede collecting the different sparkling stars there, which are basically like MacGuffin crystals or whatever you want to call them. Essentially, it's just something to collect that Kirby has to stop them from collecting because he's collecting them for food, and in doing so, he's endangering Dreamland. So Kirby tries to stop him, and that's basically what the whole game is. Pretty simple movie plot.
Do you consider these to be movies kind of like Disney, where they're primarily meant for children?
I would imagine these being like a children type of movie. Where it's like, like the Pokemon movies, they're like an hour long, they're pretty simple in plot, nothing too like insane. That's what I was looking for in these movies. I'm not like doing anything ridiculous. Cause these games have so little in their plot back then that you can't really do much with it. But my goal is it ramps up. With each movie, it starts becoming more and more complicated of a plot, which some people will not like, but it's the only way I can see is making this work, because if you don't do that, you start adding stuff to Yoshi's Island and Kirby's Dream Land that wasn't there before. That being said, we move on to the next movie, where once again there's a lot of creative freedom because not much happened in this game. The next movie would be Star Fox. And in this one, the only characters you're looking at are Fox, Falco, and Andross. There was no Wolf yet, and you really didn't care about Slippy or the others at this moment. So it's just those three. And the whole game just focused around Fox and Falco stopping Andross from taking over the Lilat system. And then Andross loses, and that's the whole end of the movie. That'll be a simple one, once again, an hour animated film. Nothing too crazy, nothing like insanely violent, rated R, Castlevania type stuff. Next would be Pokemon the first movie. Like, literally just play Mewtwo Strikes Back. Don't even change it. Like, literally just play that movie.
No, but so in this cinematic universe of yours, do you mean you want Ash and Misty and Brock in it? Or are you talking about like Red? Like,
no, you would have Ash, Misty, and Brock in it. And the reason why I left them in is because Red would come in when you play Pokemon Origins in the long, long future. Because right now, this is just Ash, and you don't put him in the games. But the reason why I feel like you should just leave Ash there is because Jigglypuff was added, like you said before, because of the anime. So it's kind of like, you can't just act like the anime doesn't really exist and add Jigglypuff and those characters. You feel me?
Okay.
So I kind of just let Ash there and just let the viewer understand that Ash would just not be in the Smash game. It would only be Pikachu, Mewtwo, and Jigglypuff. But Jigglypuff's not really that relevant in this movie, so I didn't really add her. Now, the next one would be a promo. Like those, Disney has those like 15-minute like introductory like films for their movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. This would be for F-Zero. Because my God, there's no But now after all those are set in stone, this is when the real plot starts to thicken and the movies take a shift. Because the next movie would be Earthbound. And I don't know if you've ever played Earthbound before. Have you?
Yeah, of course.
Earthbound is a pretty like deep plot. Like, it's not like something very shallow that you just came up on the spot. It has some serious thought into it. And like, when you boil down to it, it's just Ness and his group of friends trying to prevent Gigas from taking over the world and creating on darkness, and also stopping Porky, who's the reason why Gigas became who it was, and he was helping them the whole time. And there's a lot more to that. Like, Ness meets 3 people, and he goes village to village, different areas, collecting like, I think it was like energy for like a stone or something like that. I think this is Sound Stone. There's like a lot to the plot, and you can definitely make a good movie out of that. So I would just make another movie for Earthbound based on that entire plot. And with that one, it'd be longer. It'd be like an actual, like, I'm talking like a Marvel length type film, where it's actually animated still, but it's not so much like kid-friendly 50-minute like turn off your mind kind of thing. It's like, oh, okay, this is pretty dope. Like, this is actually pretty interesting, and I can see myself watching this multiple times again and again and again. And then after that, you have the movie that starts hinting at the Smash movie, which would be Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time could definitely have a very, very long movie behind it. I'm talking like Captain America, like Winter Soldier type. Like, yo, this is pretty damn good. Because you already know the Ocarina plot. You have young Link and Link traveling through time. He goes to different areas of Hyrule trying to collect the medallions, try to collect the stones to fight Ganon, and there's like a whole like shish kebab behind that. And I feel like you can definitely make a solid movie just off that plot. However, this is where the Smash movie comes in. This is where my idea starts to flourish. Do you remember the ending of Ocarina of Time well?
What part about the ending are you talking about?
Like, the fact that at the end, Link puts the Master Sword back, and he goes back to live with his child. You remember that, right?
Yeah, of course.
So Navi disappears, Ganondorf is stealed, and young Link goes back in time to live his life as he should have. And there's just a theory, it's not confirmed by Nintendo, but I think we all would like to believe this is true. A bunch of people like to believe that young Link at that moment went inside the Lost Woods without Navi, looking for Navi. And if you go to Lost Woods without a fairy, you end up being lost and eventually dying there, which is what the theory is. And the theory is the Majora's Mask game was just him like hallucinating or just lost in the world inside Lost Woods. So when that happens, you lose Link completely. Link is now off the radar. And my movie kicks in with the ending of Earthbound and the ending of Ocarina of Time kind of intermixing. So at the end of Earthbound, Porky tells Ness to look for him after they defeat Gigas, because he just disappears and he actually lives. Ness, in my movie, would start off the Smash movie looking for Porky, trying to find where he actually went. Porky, in my movie, would find out about the whole Link Ganondorf battle. And the reason why he finds out about that is because when you have a character who time travels, you end up opening a whole new line. That's why like movies get complicated when there's time travel introduced, which is why many people might not enjoy my concept, because there's time travel involved. The moment Link beats Ganondorf and goes back to young Link, there's that new timeline that's set, right? There's a new timeline where young Link is now gone and you're back in the past. Theoretically, in that timeline, Gigas is still alive. There's no dead Gigas anymore, because now you're back in a different time. My concept is Porky would find out about this and head to that time. As Porky goes to that time, he starts learning of each single person who is defeated in these games, like Bowser Jr., Andross, King Dedede, Ganondorf, those guys.
Just to mention, it wasn't Bowser Jr. It was just Bowser as a baby.
Bowser as a baby, exactly. Like Koopa. Do they call him Koopa Kid if he's a younger Bowser or what?
No. Koopa Kid was something else completely different. Wasn't Koopa Kid from Mario Party?
I don't know, man. Koopa Kid's a really weird concept when you think about it. Because I thought Koopa Kid was Junior, but I think he's not. So it's like weird.
Okay, just continue.
But you know what I mean. It's like it's a younger Bowser. But yeah, he finds out about each one of these villains and how they all failed at what they were doing. So Porky, now that he's back in the past, has... Do you remember how the ending battle of Earthbound went? How they fought Gigas as like an infant?
No. The entire ending of Earthbound is lost to me. So
okay, so at the end of Earthbound, they have to go back in time to fight Gigas as like an infant, so he can't fight back against them. They basically kill a baby, which is kind of messed up. But they kill Gigas as like a young infant. And now that Porky's in this new timeline, that Gigas is alive, it's still an infant, but Ness doesn't know about this other Gigas. So in my movie, Porky would be trying to bring back that young Gigas back to its old self, into a more mature version where it's evil and has success, because Ness would not know about it. So that would be my idea behind Porky's motivation. Now, Porky would inform Gigas of like, hey, in a different time, this didn't work out because Ness found out about who you were back in the time and destroyed you. But now we have people who can serve you and bring darkness upon the world. In case you didn't know, Gigas' motivation for being who he is that he was trying to take back PSI power from Earthlings, and he failed to do so. So his ultimate solution was to bring darkness upon the world. That's his whole motivation.
So yeah. I'm getting the feeling that you want Gigas to be the Loki of the first phase.
Exactly. That's where I was about to lead to my next thing. The title of the movie would be Super Smash Bros. The first movie, The Return of Gigas. The whole thing would be the Smash characters in those movies I mentioned before fighting Gigas and the people that are fighting along Gigas. So, but like I said, the movie...
You haven't introduced Mario as an adult yet.
Hold on, I'm getting there.
Okay.
It's special how he gets roped into this. I have a lot of cool little things I've added to this idea. So, the movie would begin, I said before, with Ness trying to find Gigas. He says goodbye to his group and his family and everybody he knows in searching of him, because he feels like he should just do it alone. So he sets out looking for him, going through different times, going through different realms, and as it's already clear, I think, you kind of understand this already, that all these games would have linked worlds. Like, they're not like separate universes. They're all in the same area. So, Porky would start by heading to Hyrule, where young Link is now gone. Like I mentioned before, he's now in the world of Majora's Mask, and there's no Hero of Time. And there's no Sheik either, because it's a young Zelda. And there's no Ganondorf, because he's sealed away. Now, Porky going back in this time, if there's no Link to stop him, and there's no adult Zelda to stop him, Porky could easily take the Ocarina from young Zelda, get all the 3 spiritual stones from their locations, and reopen the sanctuary to release Ganondorf. In doing so, Ganondorf now takes control over Hyrule like he wanted to initially, and seeks vengeance on everyone who wronged him, and brings hell upon Hyrule. The only condition is Ganondorf serves loyalty to Gigas, which he has no problem doing. This is where Impa would come in and try to stop him, but let's be honest, Impa really wouldn't be able to stop Ganondorf if he already has like all this backup and he has like one part of the Triforce with him. That's how Impa becomes a character in Smash. She ends up losing against Ganondorf, and the only solution she can think of for long term is sealing young Zelda away and hiding the last bit of the Triforce power within Zelda, because the rest of it is with Ganondorf and a Link who's now dead. So then, Hyrule is now in flames. That's done for. Porky then heads to Dreamland, where, by the way, remember, this is in the past now, because he went back to the past where Gigas is alive. Yeah. So all these games that I mentioned before, they haven't reached their end yet. So, like, Kirby hasn't beat King Dedede yet. Star Fox hasn't beat Andross yet. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Porky would land in Dreamland, and he would inform King Dedede of Kirby's future where he would defeat him. And he knows that King Dedede is collecting the Sparkling Stars. And they can, in the movie, they can easily connect Sparkling Stars with Infinite Darkness. With Sparkling Stars, there's no Infinite Darkness. So in order to bring upon that Infinite Darkness, Porky would have to aid King Dedede in taking those stars. So Porky does that, helps King Dedede win, and Kirby has to escape. And where does he escape in space? To the Lylat system, which then brings us to Star Fox. Over in Star Fox, Porky also appears, and he tries to help Andross. However, he doesn't make it in time, because now Kirby is allying with the Star Fox gang to fight Andross. Andross gains the power that Gigas gives, Porky gives him from Gigas, but he still loses because Andross sucks and no one really cares about him as a villain. So Andross loses, and Kirby's able to recognize the power that he was using from Gigas. So Kirby, I think, then realizes that there's something bigger going on. Because of this, Star Fox picks up on Kirby realizing this and thinks they need to find someone with a more knowledgeable source of all things space related. So Star Fox heads to a space bounty hunter who is an expert in aliens. And who would that be?
Oh, Samus. I thought
I'm about to say, dog. I'm about to say, come
on. No. I thought you were gonna say it yourself. I was like, okay, I think.
No.
Okay.
So then you bring in Samus, which is dope because she didn't even have a movie. So everyone's like, whoa, who's this? And then Samus can bring this big role in of proving who she is in the Smash universe. Samus would give exposition on Gigas' species, their origins, and their mythology. And she would claim that things that she knows about her explain the whole concept behind Gigas, in case people who didn't watch Earthbound are confused about who Gigas is. Then the only thing they need to know is how to find Gigas, and Samus has no idea where to find this. So they're kind of stuck on finding out what to do next. So we then head to the Pokemon universe, and Porky knows about Mewtwo's future. So in this past now, Porky convinces Mewtwo to be on Gigas' side, and convinces Mewtwo that Gigas is also a clone, just like Mewtwo. And he tries to convince Mewtwo that Gigas understands where Mewtwo's coming from, and they should work together. Thus, the events of Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back occurs again. However, this time, Ash isn't revived. Ash is left for dead. Mewtwo does not feel any remorse and moves on. This then encourages Pikachu to then pursue Mewtwo with the help of other Pokemon. See what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, with all these steps completed, Gigas feels like he's now ready to mature, or sorry, not Gigas, but Porky's now ready to mature Gigas and take over this new dark world. Ness is still traveling through different realms, and he lands in one where he hears about a psychic being named Mewtwo, who's taken over several islands in the Pokemon area. So Ness meets up with the Pokemon gang, like Pikachu and the other Pokemon that Ash owns, and they then face Mewtwo to try to convince Mewtwo that Gigas is not the one that should be being supported. This whole thing would result in like a giant altercation, where eventually it's kind of like I imagine a giant war. So between all these Pokemon and Ness's psychic powers versus Mewtwo, and remember his Pokemon from the movie? It'd be like that. Yeah. So when that's all said and done, Ness has a conversation with Mewtwo and tells him the true identity of Gigas and that he's not a clone, which then finally convinces Mewtwo that he's on the wrong side. So Ness starts theorizing that Porky's probably been to several areas outside the Pokemon world. He probably didn't just go to one area and that was it. So he then thinks to himself, there's no way they can go further back in time and do what they did in the first Earthbound, because Porky's already got each probable past already covered. So the only way he can face them is in the current time. And Ness thinks, where's the one area where we can find Porky? And that would be in Onett, like the neighborhood where Ness is from, because they're both neighbors. So that's where they head. Back in the space area, Samus predicts that Gigas would not attack from space. If anything, he would attack from Earth to take over the world a lot easier. So they head to Earth. And this is exactly what Porky wants. Porky waits in Onett and blasts the Star Fox gang out of the sky. Kirby, Samus, Fox, and Falco. And Ness, at the same time, arrives with the Pokemon crew to Onett. I also forgot to mention one thing. What's his face? Porky would also head to the Mushroom Kingdom and give Bowser also the power to take over all the Yoshis. I forgot to mention that part too. So he waits for them in Onett. He shoots Star Fox and the crew out of the sky, right? And now they're all in Onett together, exactly as he wanted. They all try facing Porky and put him in a corner to destroy him once and for all. But Porky baits and switches them and is able to nab Ness's device that helps him time travel and sends them all to the future. The reason why he sends them all to the future is because now in the future, Gigas is mature. Ganondorf for sure has Hyrule now. Bowser is an adult. And also King Dedede has Dreamland unlocked too. So the whole world is basically covered in darkness. No human exists. All the heroes in the movie so far in that time period are dead. And the only thing that you really can recognize are the Yoshis, who are all enslaved by Bowser. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they all head to this future to face Gigas, and they think they can take him on. However, Gigas and the other villains are way too strong for them, and they head to Hyrule. I forgot to mention, because that's the source of where they're all at. That's where Gigas and Ganondorf are both together to fight them, and they're way too powerful to fight them, so they can't actually beat them. And when all is looking said and done, out of nowhere, the sealed Zelda is now a full adult, and she submerges herself out of the sanctuary as Sheik and helps them fight. And what she does is she uses the power of her Triforce to call upon the power of the gods. And she considers the only way they can win is if they start flooding the area of Hyrule where everything is happening. And the only way they can win is if they separate all the main evil villains into different domains and the heroes there too, so they can all have type of one-on-one battles. So what she does is she sends she sends the army of Yoshis and Kirby against Bowser and his army. She sends and also King Dedede. She also sends Zelda herself and the Pokemon army against Ganondorf in the flooding Hyrule. And then she also sends Star Fox, Samus, and Ness against Gigas for their battle in space. And they all have those battles, and as you can predict, they eventually win, which results in Gigas dying. And of course, King Dedede wouldn't die, he would be spared. Bowser would leave. I forgot to mention, when they're over in the Mushroom Kingdom, when they're fighting as the army of Yoshis, Kirby against Bowser in the Mushroom Kingdom along with King Dedede, Mario is now a full-grown adult, and he makes a cameo appearance and fights them along with them. So then they have all these separate battles, everyone loses, and Gigas finally dies, and Porky disappears to begin Mother 3. And the only thing they lost was Hyrule, because now it's flooded, which then starts the chain of results for Wind Waker. So then the next phase would start from Wind Waker and Mother 3. And that's how the movie would end.
God damn. Okay, that's a movie.
The only thing I couldn't do was I couldn't figure out. I can't make Link work because legit he's gone, and I can't make Adult Link appear. That wouldn't make any sense. And I couldn't get Captain Falcon in there because there's no way I can make him work in this scenario.
So do you plan on roping Captain Falcon in eventually, though, or no?
Yeah, probably phase 2 or something like that. But as of right now, there's no way he'll make it into phase 1.
Okay.
So to recap, the characters were Bowser Jr. and Piranha Plant being the evil villains of the Mushroom Kingdom. You have all the Yoshis, Kirby and King Dedede. You have Fox, Falco, and Mewtwo, Pikachu, Ness, Samus, Ganondorf, Sheik, Impa and Echo for Sheik, Zelda, Andross, Bowser, and Mario.
But Mario is only a small role.
Yeah, in the movie, he only appears for a brief moment when they're fighting Bowser, because now in the future, and Mario's a full-grown adult. And he tries to help the Yoshis because they helped him when he was a baby. But they all would be in the Smash video game.
Wow. No,
Yeah.
that's a extremely different take on how I would have thought a Smash Brothers movie would have gone. But no, but that was actually really dope to listen to. It felt like
No, I told you, like, I was trying to avoid the whole Master Hand stuff. I was trying to make it like original to the actual like content of the game.
dude, that was awesome, dude. That was I imagined everything in my head, and I kind of want all of that to happen. But for anybody listening, please drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think, and if Simon's idea was fire or if Simon's idea was poop. Let us know what you think. And if you guys really like it, I'm sure Simon has no problem whatsoever working up what a sequel to the second phase.
Definitely not. Even if y'all don't like it, I'm still probably gonna work on the second.
Awesome. That was awesome. That was so awesome. Awesome,
Even
guys.
if you know how to animate, hit my DMs real quick so we get this going.
we could just upload this to newgrounds.com real quick. Awesome, guys, and just stay tuned for for my end of this conversation on what Smash Brothers may possibly look like as a TV show. You guys definitely don't want to miss that. But for now, please follow us on Twitter. Make sure to subscribe to us to keep up with our content. And thanks for listening.
Peace.